Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be reviewing Infamous First Light, the DLC for Infamous Second Son. Now I'm not going to be reviewing it in my usual style of reviews where I try to be as professional as possible because this is DLC, so I'm just going to be talking casually about it for a few minutes. So let's get this review started. So First Light is all about Fetch. Now her real name is Abigail Walker. Now in case you don't know, she was one of the side characters in Second Son in the full game. So this is basically like her backstory, like everything that happened to her before the events of Second Son. So this is basically like a prequel to the game. Oh, and by the way, this DLC, it's standalone, so even if you didn't play Second Son, even if you don't have the game, you can still buy this alone and play it by itself. So now, if you played the original game, you're definitely going to feel a difference with this DLC. Like, it just feels overall more polished over the original game. Like, the way it feels, the gameplay mechanics, overall, it just feels better than the original game. Like, I remember when we first heard about this DLC, like, we found out that it was only going to have Fetch in it, like, you would play as Fetch. But the thing is, in the original game, Delson, the guy that you played as, had 4 different powers. And so it wouldn't get boring all the time because you could switch between your powers. But if you're only playing as Fetch and you only have 1 power, like, won't that get boring if you just have to keep on using the same power over and over again? Thankfully, it's not like that. One of the reasons is this DLC is obviously way shorter than the original game, so it wouldn't be too boring to use the same powers over and over again. But also, they added a few different improvements to the powers. So, like, for example, in Second Son, with her power, you could sprint through the entire city, like, you can run really, really fast. But in this DLC, they added a new feature where you can sprint through different, like, portals, and that would allow you to go even faster, so you can go faster and faster and faster, so it can get really fun, and it doesn't get boring. Also, the combat, like when you're punching people, it just feels faster. Like you could bounce back and forth between enemies as you're punching them and kicking them. Like it just feels really fast in comparison to the original game. So it doesn't get boring at all in terms of the combat and the powers. And even the graphics, like I really do think this DLC looks better than Second Son overall. And and also the frame rate. The frame rate in Second Son was probably around like 30 frames, and it would dip down to like 20 when there was like a lot of action on the screen. But with this, it feels more smooth, so it's probably like around 45 frames, and it doesn't dip down that much in comparison to Second Son. So that's definitely a good thing. Also, one of the problems that Second Son had was the story. Like, it wasn't that engrossing. Like, it was decent, it was okay, but the main focus of Second Son was just the gameplay. With this, the story is actually really good. Like, I actually enjoyed it. Like, you actually care about what's going on, so I was actually really surprised to have a really good story with this DLC, especially if you compare it to Second Son. Like, the story was actually really good. I actually really enjoyed it. Now, one of the things that I noticed with this is that there's no moral system. So if you've played any previous Infamous game, they all have a moral system. So you could be good or evil in the game depending on the decisions you make. But with this, there's no moral system at all. So you just play through it like it's a regular game. So I do think having a moral system would add more complexity to the story. But at the same time, I do think that it's not necessary for this because it is only DLC, but and at the same time the story was actually really good, so I don't really think it needed a moral system. So it was actually good by itself without having one. So overall, I think this DLC is definitely worth it. It's only $15. I would actually be willing to pay $20 for it. Like, it's just that good. And in terms of replay value, there are side missions, and on top of that, there is a battle arena mode with like different challenges, so there is a lot of replay value with this, so it's not just like the main story and you're done. So I definitely think it's worth it. Even if you didn't play Second Son, you should still definitely pick this up. Like, I think I actually enjoyed this DLC more than the full game. Is that sad? I don't know. Let me know below in the comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.